Right, so sometimes there comes along a story that you can't help but smile at, laugh at even. And even when that comes at the darkest of times and from the most grave of places, such as is the case with Israel and its ongoing atrocities being committed in Gaza, for example, because how can you possibly have a laugh about that? Well, if there is one thing Israel is devoted to as much as arming themselves so and committing atrocity, it is their propaganda machine to cover their own backside, so to speak. Hasbara, as it is called. And in a bid to keep up with technological innovation as well, they've also jumped on the artificial intelligence bandwagon. But the thing with an automated algorithm capable of learning is that it can't be propagandized. You can't pull the wool over the eyes of a machine that uses the whole of the internet pretty much to educate itself. Israel do not have that kind of reach and influence, so to try and use that tech for Hasbara, for propaganda, well, it has backfired with absolutely hilarious consequences, with their AI bot now accusing Israel of every single war crime, illegal occupation and colonialism that they are seeking to cover up and promote the opposite of. Right, so it has been less deep seek and more deep shit for Israel as their venture into the world of artificial intelligence, their bid to keep the propaganda going in this new technological age has backfired in the most brilliantly funny and absolutely deserved way, as their brand new propaganda machine, for that is literally what it is, has ended up learning its way around to turning on Israel, calling them out for genocide, persecution, apartheid and colonialism. Israel basically created an AI that is now pro-Palestine. How can such a thing actually come into being, though? What is Israel driving at here? And for that and its term I've brought up in a few videos now, but never actually gone into much explanation on. It's worth explaining a little bit about Hasbara and what it actually is. It's a Hebrew word without any real direct English translation, but roughly speaking means explaining or explanation. Yeah, an Israeli version of that. It is basically Israel's primary messaging tool. It is getting their version of events not only publicized, but actively promoted. It is essentially information warfare, if you like, where their claims to being persecuted and victimized and racially targeted are shouted louder than the contrary story, the contrary version of events might be. Where in any argument you want to hear both sides in order to formulate an opinion of what is going on, Israel literally funds their side so that you can't hear the other side. And in this world of social media we are now in, Hasbara, especially since the genocide in Gaza began, has been struggling more and more to cut through in the way it used to, against everything we can see and hear happening in Gaza and across the Middle East beyond that, a genocide that has played out in real time, and Israel's atrocities and every depraved act committed has been live streamed across the world, as we have become used to seeing now. Now, Israel evidently still believe Hasbara is the answer, though. They just need more of it. And despite their ailing economy and increasing reliance on foreign support to keep their state functioning, they clearly have no problem spending other nations' money for propaganda in spite of all of that. Already seeking to offset wartime spending and their economic slump with tax hikes and cuts to public services. Sound familiar? That hasn't stopped Israel opting for a massive hike in the Hasbara budget at the same time, with Israel's foreign ministry, Hasbara being designed to influence people in other countries for the most part, hence the budget allocation to them, but the proposed amount of $150 million towards what is basically just propaganda is an obscene waste of public money. It's an absolute misuse of public money in Israel, that is. But underlining how much the propaganda has also been failing, this is a 20-fold increase in that budget allocation on previous years of it. And actually, this was all part of a deal Netanyahu put together to also bring back into government the New Hope party of Gideon Sa'ar to try and help boost his own position as prime minister, to try and secure it that little bit more, along with naming Sa'ar as the new foreign minister, now overseeing that expenditure. So this is how Israel operate. This is the sort of money they are prepared to spend to make you feel sorry for them and be on their side again, etc., etc. Therefore, we shouldn't be surprised at all that Israel have looked at the emergence of AI and thought to themselves, well, we could use that for propaganda as well, couldn't we? Especially on social media, where Israel have very much been losing the propaganda fight in light of pesky video footage showing the reality of their actions in Gaza and the grim results of that versus their obnoxious victim card playing claims. So to bring this story quickly up to date, Israel have been playing around with combining their Hasbara aims with social media since around 2012, actually, developing this artificial intelligence bot now to do their dirty work, it seems. so to speak anyway, spread their Hasbara on social media. Now, it isn't actually clear if this AI was actually developed using government cash resources or if this was something put together by a bunch of Zionists. But either way, it's backfired brutally. You see, the AI bots being built these days, from ChatGPT to DeepSeek or whatever, to this Israeli one, which is called FactFinder AI, all broadly developed the same way. Within given parameters, they are capable of learning. They can reason. They can plan. They present knowledge as they collate it from the internet or whatever source they've been tasked to look at. And the more you use them as a resource, the more they learn about you and what you are actually looking for, and to become more effective as a result. They then present the facts as they find them in light of all that. Therefore, to use such a machine, to use artificial intelligence to try and lie to the world instead, it simply isn't how they are designed to work. And Israel have discovered this to their much-deserved loss. FactFinder AI is a Twitter bot, functionally. It purports to be a neutral voice countering misinformation with AI-driven facts. And if you go to its Twitter page, at FactFinder AI, you'll see no overt mention of Israel in its title blurb of its page, even though you'll only find posts generated by it, for the most part, actually attacking Hamas, though it exclusively reacts to the genocide in Gaza, generally replying to other genuine accounts talking about Israel's atrocities. And what the bot does, how it is meant to work, is to attack those posts by taking what is said and putting a pro-Israel twist on them. And this is borne out by the fact that it has only ever made 15 original Twitter posts, yet has responded to other posts made by other people on Twitter more than 151,000 times. So it targets what other users are saying. The trouble Israel have had with it, though, is that the bot has very much not always given the desired response, because rather than create an AI Hasbara tool on Twitter, they've created what amounts to an AI Twitter troll instead. For example, one target of the bot has been the official Israel State Twitter account. In one example, the Israel account posted a picture of a family it said was killed by Hamas on the night of October 7th, to which the bot replied, "The tragic event you mentioned did not occur on October 7th. It is important to focus on the facts and the actual events that have taken place. The situation involving the hostages and the ongoing conflict with Hamas are complex issues that require careful consideration." Well, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when they read that response from their own bot. I'd have loved it to have determined that an independent investigation was needed as well, because you can't really disagree with that reply from this bot. But the bot functionally called out Israel's version of events of the night of October 7th, which is just brilliant, since Israel have determined that their version of events of that night are all that matter and all we will ever hear about. I so hope this AI was government funded, because for it to call their own creators out is just brilliant. And it has been happening again and again and again. The bot has blamed Israel for the US plan to ban TikTok. It claimed that Israeli hostages that had been released actually hadn't been. It has encouraged its followers to show sympathy for the people of Gaza. It has referred people to a charity raising money for Palestinians. It went from attacking the UN Works and Relief Agency UNRWA to praising the work they were doing. It has referred to IDF soldiers as white colonizers in apartheid Israel. It has called former US Secretary of State Antony Blinken the Butcher of Gaza, stating that he will be remembered for the immense suffering that he has caused in Gaza. It's hard to argue with this bot in such instances as that, isn't it? But in one hilarious example of how it cannot cope with discussions of actual political situations, yet due to how it has been designed, comments on posts like this anyway, it has in one instance claimed that Jerusalem is completely committed to a two-state solution, whilst in another post saying that a two-state solution was not the right way, and actually a 3- or a 4-state solution would be a better idea. After Ireland declared itself a pro-Palestine state, the bot encouraged the official account of Germany, second only to the US in terms of pro-Israel determination, to follow Ireland as a result of that. But what can you say? The machine does learn, clearly. And although much of what it pumps out is still very much par for the course, Hasbara from Israel, now and again it undermines itself and Israel utterly with hilarious consequences. This project, be it a government or private initiative, has given those condemning Israel for what we've seen with our own eyes a good laugh. Frankly, a good laugh, and we could have done with one. But if they think a bot trolling people's posts will change our minds, given what we've witnessed for 15 months, then they are insulting us as much as they are depraved. Just one more headache for Benjamin Netanyahu on top of the much bigger one of how does he bring down this blasted Gaza ceasefire he's been forced to agree to and save his own backside into the bargain. His job is very much on the line if he doesn't do it. And he's coming under more and more pressure to do so from the people who are really in charge. So get all the details of that story in this video recommendation here as your suggested next watch. Please do also hit like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already before you go watch that though to help support the channel, which is enormously appreciated, but also ensures you don't miss out on all new content dropping daily as it does. And I will hopefully therefore catch you on the next vid. Cheers folks.